Hello everyone. So in this today video lecture of DBMS, we will see the aggregate functions used in SQL. We already discussed this aggregate functions and its usage in linear algebra also. So the main purpose of the aggregate function is to summarize the tuple and its values to an individual value. So there are n number of scenarios where you end up in having these aggregate functions. We will see one by one. Before seeing its usefulness in writing SQL queries, let us first see how it has been used for individually, what is the meaning of each of this aggregate function. So we have 5 aggregate functions: min, max, sum, count as well as average, as we have discussed in relational algebra. So minimum is used to find out the minimum of a given attribute. Okay, so the way it is to be written: select min of salary from employee. So first thing you can understand from this example is this aggregate functions normally be used in the select clause. Okay, majority of the times will be used in the select clause. In sometimes in the having clause. I will come to that next. Let's not discuss that now. So minimum gives the minimum of the salary. So as you can see in the example, there are salary being given specified. So which is the minimum out of this? 10,000 is the minimum, but there are twice, so it will print 10,000 twice. If you want only once, you can give this thing of minimum of salary. So anyhow, min, let us understand the functions first. So min gives us the minimum value for a given attribute. Attribute should be within the parenthesis. To apply this aggregate function, the first thing you need to understand is it should be of compatible type. That is, salary is of integers. So can I apply the minimum function to integers? Of course yes. So I can apply the min. Okay. Then your max, as we have this min, I can also apply it for max. So it will give me the output as 22,000. So will be the output. Now what should be this table name? It will be displayed as max of salary itself. Whatever I will get here will be of max of salary or underscore of salary. So if you want to rename this, so you can rename maximum salary as m underscore s. So automatically this will be renamed as maximum salary m underscore s, something like that. You can rename any name if you want. So this way it is already been known how to rename and all, you have all learnt it. So this is what is maximum salary. Again it is of type compatible, it can be applied to the compatible one. So salary is of integer, so I can apply the max. Now the question is, can I apply this min and max to a character one? Say for example employee name, if I apply, what will happen? Does it works with respect to the minimum as well as maximum with the employee name type, because employee name type is a character. Okay, the question answer is yes. So what happens here is, when I say max of e name, it takes the alphabetical order. According to the alphabetical order, which is the maximum and which is the minimum will be displayed. So in this case min will be A and the max will be D in the case of alphabetical order, or the ASCII values will be taken into consideration. Not in exactly in the case where it will display the minimum value as well as the maximum value. So min and max can be applied for characters as well as for integers, not for the variable character one. Next we have this sum. So sum is, as the name says, it is to perform the addition of a given attribute. So as soon as I say addition, it cannot be applied for the character data type, only for a integer type. So in case of this, so max, if I say sum of salary as the case, so 32, 42, 62,000 will be the output being printed when I apply this sum. So sum is an again aggregate function which adds all the values of a given attribute and give it in the relation. So again, if you want, you can rename this also as per the thing. Next is your count. Count is quite different where it can be used in while writing the queries, because when a count applied on a particular attribute, the result will be different, and the count applied on a particular table, the output will be different. We will see that now. So, let us first understand what is count. So, count of SSN, something like this. Okay. What does this count will do is, it will count the instance of, instance of each value being present. Instance of each value being. So, I can call it as the number of rows where you can tell. Okay. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like this, or count of e-name, count of salary you can do. So, based on the instances it will count. It does not matter with respect to duplicate values, it will count the each instance and give the output for us. So, this is what the count is all about. Now, assume that I have forgotten to enter a name. What name? Employee name. So, there is a null value here. I am just differentiating between two ways of using a count. So, now what if I write count of star, same query, select count of star from employee. Okay. So, when I say this and when I say count of e-name, employee name, can we expect the output to be same? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends on the values what has been present in each tuples, in each rows. Let me explain how it is. The output what I will be getting for this will be 4, and the output what I will be getting for this will be 3. When I say count of star, okay, for max and min we need to give attribute name, otherwise it will be able to find out. When I give a count, count can have star as well as attribute name. Star indicates collectively means all together count the number of rows in a table. Okay, it does not matter whether the values are filled or not filled, it will only look for number of rows present in the table and will give the output. The output for this will be what? The attribute name will be count star itself, because it is not been renamed. So, 4. Now, in this case it will be 3. Why? Because when I say count of e-name, it will count the number of value exist, it will not count the null values. Count of attribute name, when I give a particular attribute name, it will try to find out whether all the values present in that particular column of a given attribute e-name. If it is not present, then it will not be counted and the value will be 3. Okay. So, this is what the count. So, in general, why do we use counters? In order to count the number of instances. Say for example, if queries are given, find out number of employees working in department number 5. So, in that case we need to apply this count operation only for department number 5. So, first I will select all the department numbers who are only working in 5, then I will apply the count star operation, it will count the number of rows having department equal to 5. So, this way we can use count operation effectively. We will see that next. For time being, just understand that count two different ways, that is count of attribute name yields a different result only when some of the values are filled with null. If it was not having a null, if I had the value here itself, again the value what I was expecting here is the same as this 4 itself, because the values has been present. Okay. Lastly, I have this average. So, as the name says, it gives me the average. Okay. So, before moving on, again count has been used for both integers and characters. It can be used as we can use with characters as well as for integers, whereas sum is only for integers. Again, the average is only for integers, numbers, the floating point numbers. Okay. So, as the name says average, find out the average of a given attribute. So, it will count with, say for example, if I give average of salary, so 32, 42, 62 divided by number of instances 4. It will happen automatically by itself and it gives us a result 62 divided by 4. What will be the value? That will be displayed as an output when I apply the average. So, average of salary. When we do this, I'll get the average of the salary as an output. That is, it will count all the values of a column and divide by the number of instances as the name says, and the output will be given. Again, if you want, you can rename this. Now, so as I just mentioned, this aggregate functions can be applied to the whole table or to the selected instances of a table. That is up to you. If you want to apply to the selective instances, that is the rows of a table, then you need to specify a where clause. As you can see, the example what I have discussed, I have not used any where clause. Say for example, I'll say find out the average of salary for only those employees working in department number 11. So find out the average of salaries for people only working in department number 11. So where dnum equal to 11. So automatically the query changes. Now what happens? First the where clause executes. How many rows with 11? 2 rows. 22 plus 10 will be added and divided by 2. Okay, so that is 32. 16 will be the answer what I will be getting for average salary. Likewise, I have applied this average aggregate function only for these 2 rows. How it was applied? Based on this condition. Now, if this example was based on only one table, we can have the examples on multiple table also. Okay. Now I'll ask you, find out the average of salaries of people who are working in IS department or CS department, something like this. So where do we have the department name? It's in the other table, right? That is your department table. The running example what we are discussing. The department table we have D number, D name, and so on and so. So department number 10, department number 11, CS, IS. Okay, now what is the question? Find out the average salaries of employees who are working in department number, in the department name IS. So at that case, what you are supposed to do? The first thing you are supposed to do is create a relation. Create a relation. What relation? A common relation by joining these 2 tables. So what will happen now? From employee E and department D, aliasing has been done because if we have same representation, it will be required where E dot department number equals D dot department number join with primary key and foreign key, and department name equal to IS. I need to put additional condition now. What condition? A join condition. First it will take the department number IS in department table 11. Then 11 from department table is joined with 11 from employee table. It's present? Yes. It is present twice. So twice it will be taken and the average will be worked on it. Only for those rows. So as you all know, when I do a join, I'll get a big table of joining employee and department. See, whenever we apply join operation, have a picturization in your mind. That is, we have a big table by joining all the attributes of 2 tables, then apply the conditions on it one by one. After applying the conditions in the where clause, for those conditions, if you want to do some aggregate operation, summing, averaging, counting, all can be done in the select clause. Okay. So if I ask you find out number of employees working in IS department, instead of average salary, number of employees working in IS department. So only thing you are supposed to do is here, right? Count star. That's it. So what happens here? IS will be taken from a department, is joined with employee. How many rows are selected? 2 rows. If I do a count of this, what will be the output? 2. Count of star means whatever the result I got after applying these conditions is what I am counting. Counting star indicates what? Count the number of instances after applying the condition. How many instances I have? 2 instances with the matching value 11. So those 2 rows will be selected. Okay. So this is how we can use the aggregate functions, not only with a single relation, not only with a single condition, it can be with multiple conditions with multiple relations by applying the join conditions. Okay. So this is all about your aggregate functions. we require some more aggregate functions to be learned. We'll see one more example now. Okay. Another example of how we can use this aggregate functions in order to write a solution for a given query. The query is something like this: retrieve the name of all the employee who have 2 or more dependent. So I am evaluating the value what I am getting from the aggregate function here, that if that value is more than 2, then take those rows I am saying. Okay, so let us analyze the question first. Retrieve the name of all the employee who have 2 or more dependent. Only retrieve those employees names who have more than 2 dependent. So more means what? We need to count, apply the count operation. Then the output of that count, if it is more than 2, then take those employees names. Let us see how the query can be formulated. So I have just written the employee table and the dependent table. Hope you know the meaning of dependent. As been told before, it's a weak entity. It has been depending on employee table. This is the primary key and this is the foreign key. Okay. Now what is 1? For 1 there is one dependent whose name is X. For 2 there are 3 dependents Z, X, Y, Z and P. And for 3 there is only one dependent. For 4 there is no dependent. Means as a dependent case, if an employee is working in an organization, the nominees or the dependents of his or the family members of his is what is called as dependents. Now select the name, that is employee name from employee, where now I need to find out the rows in such a way that those rows what I am going to select collectively should be more than 2. I don't want the rows to be get printed. Only for those rows which I am getting count more than 2, select those rows as an output. So do we have to write the correlated nested query here? Of course yes. So let's see that, where select count star from dependent. So from dependent we are going to take this where conditions. So from dependent where SSN equals ESSN. ESSN. Okay, and this is an attribute what I am taking here for where clause. See, for normally what way, the way you write where attribute name condition, where e name equal to so and so, where SSN equal greater than something like this. So now this whole becomes an attribute which is greater than employee who have 2 or more greater than or equal to 2. So now this whole query behaves as what? An attribute now. This attribute greater than 2. So this is an attribute what I am trying to fetch by writing a query. Because see, the condition is who have 2 or more dependent. How do I get to know more than 2 or more dependent? When I apply the aggregate functions on a given relation. Let's see that now how it has been done. Select count star from dependent. Of course it is a correlated because I have used an attribute of the outer query in the inner query. SSN belongs to employee, I have used here. So now what happens when I use correlation? For each row of the output table the inner works work. Okay, that is employee first row 1 is present here. Yes, what is the count of 1? Count is only 1. So if 1 is greater than 2, no. So E name is not selected. Which E name? A is not selected. Clarified? Next I'll take 2. For each row of the outer query, first the next row is 2. Enter the loop now. 2 is joined with ESSN, where 2 is present here, as it is present more than 1 times. Now apply the count of number of times 2 is present here. So 1, 2 and 3 times. Now whether 3 is greater than 2, yes, so I'll get true here. Where? In the where clause we have a condition, right? So I got true. True means what? What are the employee name you are pointing? Display as an output. So B is display as an output. It says what now? B as dependence which is more than 2. Okay. Next I'll go with 3. So 3 is again joined with 3. 3 is once. Count is only 1. 1 is greater than or equal to 2. No. So C is not selected. Anyhow D 4 is not present at all. So the output will be the B. Now, how you are supposed to go with this kind of queries is, the first thing you need to understand the question and which are all table has to be joined. So one side I am writing a correlation. Of course, for each row I will get the inner query executes once. So I am finding out the count of each employee's dependent in each instance. Employee number 1, number of times 1 is present in the dependent table. Employee number 2, number of times it is present in the dependent table. So this way I will get a value. I will get a value from this query. The value is compared with the given condition, that is greater than or equal to 2. So this value what I will get acts as an attribute in the where clause as a condition to check where is greater than or equal to 2. If it is so, then select the name. Okay, so I have used correlation in order to give an example of how the aggregate functions can be used in nested query or the correlated queries also. Okay. So next what we have is here is group by and having clause. It is somewhat similar to the group by concept what we have learnt in relational algebra, that is grouping the given subset of values into a non-overlapping values, wherein which for the attribute given, if there are some common values, so I want to group those values into a common group. Okay. So if you want to do that, then we need to use this group by clause. So normally we have learnt several clauses by now, that is we have seen select, from, where. Okay, we have seen this select, from and where. Now we will see group by. Group by will create group inside a given relation. That relation might be a single relation or a relation which we got through the joining of tables. It might be anything. Only thing is you need to specify what is the name of the attribute you are applying the group condition. So when you say a group by for an attribute name, that values what is present inside that group will be grouped into the common values. The common values will be created as one group. Say for example, if I say in this example group by department number. Okay, so group by D number from this table. What happens? How many groups are created? 3 groups are created. 10 is one group, 11 is one group, and 12 is one group. One group, second and third, 3 groups. So this way, this group by internally, that is very important. See, we cannot display the values which are stored in group by. Normally group bys are applied when you want to apply some conditions which has to take place internally by applying some condition on it. Then we can use this group by. Say for example, what condition I was telling about is retrieve the names of retrieve the name of department number and number of employees working in it and the average salary of that department. Okay, I'll repeat the question. Retrieve the department number, number of employees working in each department and the average of it. See, I am not giving a specific condition like saying that find out number of employees working in department number 10 or number of employees working in department number department called as IS. But I am saying collectively asking find out the number of departments, okay, number of members in each department and the average salaries of each department. Now what has to happen is I need to find out how many department number 10, we have 3 departments. How many working in 10? 1. How many working in 11? 2. How many are working in 12? 2. So average of this will be only 1, the same. Average of this, average of this. So I need to apply this average now for individual groups. So when you want to do this kind of task, you need to apply this group by clause. Let's see how it can be used for the same question. What I just told, that is retrieve the department number, the average salary and the number of employees working in each department. Select, I want the department number to be displayed, then we want the count star, that is then we have average of salary from EMP. Okay, there is no where condition being given, because where condition speaks about a specific row being selected, but we don't want any particular row. We have a it has to happen internally, that is we are asking yourself group and find out how many employees working in each department. So we need to apply this group by D number. Okay, now so as soon as you do this, the first thing happens here is the groups are being created for the given attribute name, department number. So I will be having 3 groups for this one, second group and the third group, first group, second group and the third group. So this way 3 groups are being created. Now in this 3 groups, what I am supposed to do here is that first display the group number, the value what is common across that group. What is common across the first group? 10. So the output what I will be expecting here is it will be the same name. If you want, you can rename by using as keyword. So department number will be there, count star will be there, and average salary will be here. Okay, so department number is what we have first is 10, department number 10. What is the count star? 1, because when I say department number 1, count star indicates, because I am going with each group now. First I will take the group number 1, that is 10. How many rows have been selected in group number 1? Only 1, so 1. What is the average salary? 10 itself. 10 itself. Okay, next, the next group is common values of the next group is 11, number of counts 2, average salary 22 plus 10, that is 32, 16. Okay, next same way for the next group, that is your group 12, again count 2, okay, average salary 20 plus 18, 38, so 19. So this way you can apply the group by in order to find out the department number, number of employees in each department and the average salary. So this was an example of a group by what we saw just now, where we have applied this group which creates internal groups, then we are displaying the department number, count and average of it for each of this group. So this group by can be applied to multiple tables also and individual table also. One condition you need to be always aware of is that whatever is there in the group by, the attribute what you are choosing, only that attribute should be present in its immediate select clause. Immediate means you can have nested query also, but in whichever the group by you are writing, to whichever the query you are writing, make sure you have this attribute, whatever you write it here should be the same attribute present in the select clause too. Okay, so that is the only condition we have in the case of group by. So group by department number you have, you can have only department number. With this you can have any more functions, but you can't have any more attributes. Say for example, I want the department name to be also displayed. So what you can do, you will take the department table, okay, you will join department number with department number, then you are going, after joining from employee comma department, where D dot department number equal to E dot department number, then you apply group by. Then apply, while applying group by, do what? Apply group by department number comma department name. Write both the attributes in the group by, because when you want the output to be displayed both department name and department number, that should be present in the group by itself. So that is the one condition you need to be understood, that department number in the group by should be the only attribute in the select clause of the same query, because when you apply a join condition, number of times department number is repeated, the department name is also repeated. Yes or no? When you join it with the department number, say for example department number 10 is CS. So if you have 10 CS and 11 IS, again 11 IS. So whenever it repeats the department number, the department name is also same. So if I do group by on this, what is the count? 2, 1. What is the count here also? 2, 1. It doesn't matter if I group on the name or the number when we apply the join condition. So that is what I just explained in this case. Okay, so group by department number in case of selecting it. That is the one condition. So whatever the attribute present in the group by should be present in the select clause. You can't have additional attributes. So I can't have a salary being displayed or SSN being displayed here. It should be present here. Only then you can have it there. Next. Now, if I slightly modify this query by asking, select only those groups, retrieve only those department and its average salary wherein which more than or 2 employees are working, or say more than 1 employee working, greater than 1. So how do you write this type of queries? I'll repeat the question again. Retrieve the department numbers and the average salaries of each department where the number of employees more than 1. The number of employees more than 1. So I am trying to put a condition now on this groups what you are creating. So what we need to do is we have one more clause called as having clause, which is being used for group bys. So having count star greater than 1. Now what is this having doing here? Let us understand. How we write this where clause as a condition for select clause? Yes or no? Why do we write where? It's a condition to select which and all instance to be present in the select clause. Select clause we write the attribute names. ಆ attribute ಗೆ ಯಾವ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ವೇರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ವೇರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ attributes ಬರುತ್ತೆ. If we have a where clause been given, only selected instances will be displayed. In the same way, the way we have a where clause for select, we have this having for group by. Whatever the groups we have internally created by using the group by, if you want to eliminate some of the groups or to perform some condition evaluation on those groups, can be done by using this having clause. Okay, so what I have done here, okay, let's see that. Quite a change in the case in which it has to be executed. So first the groups are created. How many groups are created? We have 3 groups, that is group number 10, group number 11 and 12. Now I am asking, putting a condition having count star. What is this having? Is a keyword count star. I am counting, star indicates whatever the attribute you have used here, same thing it is. So count star says that count the number of values present in each group. If it is more than 1, only then select the output. Okay, let's see how the output looks like for this in this case. Department number, count star, average salary, firstly 3 groups are created. The first group is what? Group number 10, count star. How many times the 10 has been present in the resultant table? Only once. So 1 is greater than 1? No. So what happens now? 10 will not be selected. It is restricting from to be selected by using a having clause. So having count of star indicates, count indicates the number of times the value present inside this group. Groups are created with the identical values. 10 all one group, 11 all one group, 12 all one group. Now how many times the 10 has been repeated should be presented by a condition. So that is what is having does for us. So having count of star greater than 1, so 10 is not being selected. Next, second group is 11. See, these groups you can't see, as I am mentioning again and again, it is happening internally with help of group by clause. So next group is 11. So 11 is more than once, as it is, so it will be selected. The department number is 11, count is 2, average salary was calculated previously, that is 16K. Okay, next 12 greater than 1, yes, then select details of 12. 12, 299, I guess. So this way you can apply some conditions being applied on the having clause to the group by. So once you create groups by using group by, to eliminate some of the group with a condition, we have this having clause. So I can call it as a having is a condition for group by. Clarified? The way we have a where clause for select conditions, we have this having for group by. The next thing you need to understand here is, the previous example I had used only group by without having. I have only used group by without having. That is possible. Writing a group by without having, you can just group and perform some operations by using the select clause, what aggregate functions you want to apply. But when I apply, when you want to apply a having, there should be a group by must. Okay, so thing is, to use group by I need not have having, but to use having you need to have a group by. I cannot use having alone in a query being written. Okay, so this was an example in case of group by and a having clause. So this group by and having can be applied to the multiple table also. We will see one such example in the next class, how to apply this group by for multiple tables. So that time you need to join multiple tables to a single table, apply the group by operation, then apply the having condition. So the concept remains the same, only thing is the joining happens. When you apply group by, first the joining happens, then the group by happens, then the having condition, then the select will be things happen. But whenever you use group by, make sure the attribute what is present here, the same attribute should be present here. Okay, so I made the concept of group by and having clear. So this is all for today's lecture. Thank you all.